Yeah, excited about the opportunity. It's playing a bowl game. Tulsa's a very good opponent from a good conference, and so I think this is a great opportunity for our players and for our fans too. Obviously, a drivable distance. Would love to see our fans, get as many of our fans in that stadium as we possibly can. I think we're blessed that we can drive there and things like that. A lot of our alums are going to be able to get there. I've been in some situations before where we're far away from where our fan base is, and it gets a little tough. So this is a great opportunity for us to show the nation what Monarch Nation's all about. So excited about that. Questions?
Coach, what does it mean to you, the program, the team, just to be in a bowl this year?
Not as much as it is to win one. It's another opportunity for us to go 1-0. It's another opportunity for us to get 10 more practices that we wouldn't be able to get normally. I think that another opportunity for us to evaluate some of our younger guys who maybe didn't get as many reps during the year in our system that was doing more of our G Squad stuff. So I think that those are things that are really, really important. And I also think that it's also important that it's a great reward for our seniors who have battled for a number of years now, but certainly over the last two have given everything they got. And I'm really excited to be able to watch guys like Jordan Young and Isaac Weaver, JoJo Heaton, Nick Rice, Corey Jackson. Those guys go out there and get another opportunity to play for Monarch Nation and Old Dominion, and that's a great deal.
Ricky, you've been through this, I guess, 10, 11 years in a row now, consecutively or something,
yep.
As a coach or assistant. How do you manage, or what have you learned through your time as an assistant, how to manage kind of the ebb and flow of a bowl game? Because there's the regular season finale, then there's finals, and there's time off, and the holidays are coming up, and then there's the travel plan. Have you found a plan that sort of is advantageous?
No, there's not one. And anybody who tells you that they have that down to a science is wrong, because everything has changed in terms of the early signing date. Has certainly changed that. The transfer portal has certainly changed that. The fact that we're playing on December 20th as opposed to some of the later bowl games that maybe I've been used to. So it always changes, and that's one of the great things about college football is the constant change. And for my job, it's awesome. I get to constantly adapt and come up with new solutions and things like that. I feel like we have a really, really good plan. I feel very confident in the plan that our staff developed. But to say that there's one cookie cutter approach to this, I don't believe that to be true.
You mentioned the 10 extra practices. How valuable is that in the big picture?
Yeah, it's critical. It's critical. I mean, it's something that even that little extra tape and being able to coach guys on your stuff over and over and over again. It's a nice springboard into spring ball. I think it shows some guys maybe where they're at, maybe where they're deficient, but gives them an opportunity before spring ball to change some of that and to change the narrative before we get to that point so that they can compete at a higher level. No one values practice more than our staff and our program. And so that's maybe some of the most valuable things we can have is those extra practices and those extra reps, and being able to put guys into cut-ups and show them, okay, this is you doing it. This is maybe the guy who's a little bit more experienced than you doing it, and do you see the gap there that we need to cover? And it might be smaller than they imagined. Some guys have some confidence issues where maybe they don't think they're doing as well as we can show them that they are, and then some guys are a little overconfident, and we need to show them, hey, there's a pretty significant gap that we got to make up here.
Ricky, what have you learned about this team, I guess, in the last 5 games? Is there anything specific that you've learned that you said you didn't really know that you had early in the year, maybe when you kicked things off, but through this win streak you found something?
No, I think that's the best thing about this team, and I've been riding around in cars with multiple of our assistants recently, and I'm sure they're sick of me beyond all recognition. It's kind of like who draws the short straw, who gets to drive me around for the day. I've assured them that I still know how to drive and I can drive myself, but I think they don't trust me on that. But been talking to the guys, and that's the greatest thing about it is that we haven't had that. I mean, I haven't learned anything new during the win streak. Our team has been very consistent the whole way through. We weren't necessarily getting the results we wanted, but we certainly were getting the same effort, the same mentality, and all those sort of things. So, been really happy with that, and I think that's the thing that has allowed us to go 1-0 5 times in a row. Is that, you know, our mentality didn't change. So, I mean, I think that's really the key for us is you know, we grew in some confidence, I would say, but in terms of toughness and care and our ability to compete and things like that, no, I mean, this team has shown me that from day one.
You talked about how, you know, important it is for this team to make it to a bowl game, you know, but for you, your first season at the helm here, and it's also just the second time in program history that the Monarchs have gone. Have you had any time to kind of sit back and be like, you know, that's a pretty cool accomplishment?
Yeah, so I told somebody this yesterday, and I know this is like a typical coach thing, and this is like, I know I'm probably going to be on Twitter as like football guy, but like, yeah, I'm already past that, and I already thought about some of the opportunities that we missed, and that sort of thing. So I probably looked at it and felt the accomplishment for maybe a day. Felt the joy certainly in that locker room and everything after the game, and then you know, you get you dive right into recruiting, and you dive into everything else and evaluating the program and everything that you don't really get time to soak it up, and you're just thinking about, hey, how can we make this thing better and how can we keep improving, and because that's what I owe to the coaches in our program and the players in our program is, you know, how can I continue to make sure that they get better each and every day.
Ricky, has the fact that, you know, you've played this season, you've won 5 in a row and gone to a bowl, has that changed the perception of ODU among recruits and coaches that you've been on the road talking to?
I mean, I think a little bit. I think you've maybe seen some guys have a little bit different perception of us, but you know, I think a lot of coaches had respect for what we were doing, even when we were, you know, maybe not coming up on the right side of the ledger there. So I don't think it changed it that much. I think what it does, it kind of showed everybody that the process we were doing is working, and so that's been a good thing. But since we've got here, we've got really, really good response from coaches and recruits, and especially within this region, and so just having the wins and all that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously there's going to be some new blood in this region, and then we're going to have to battle, and they've you know, they're going to have a lot of excitement around them. So, you know, for us, it's just going to be about staying consistent and being the consistent. You know, now we're kind of the old dogs around here. You know, us and, you know, JMU, you know, are kind of the older dogs around here, and so we're just going to have to make sure that we stay consistent and we continue to show our faces and be honest with the coaches and the recruits in this region, and I think that's what's going to pay dividends for us in the end.
Speaking of new dogs, your reaction to Brent Fry and he will have his first game here next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the least of both of our worries right now is that first game. I mean, you know, right now we're both I'm trying to go 1-0 in this bowl game. He's trying to go 1-0 in building a staff and finishing off a recruiting class and things like that, and evaluating all the things that he's got. I've been in that position, and you know, for the first, I don't know, decade you're a head coach. I'm sure, you know, it's drinking through a fire hose. I'm sure maybe it slows down after that. I have to ask Coach Franklin. I don't know, but it certainly hasn't slowed down after 2 years. So yeah, it's kind of I'm sure he's getting a lot of things thrown at him right now, but he's a great football coach and a great motivator of men, and I'm excited to be able to continue to compete against them like I used to in practice, and I know he'll build a great staff. And it'll be a good opportunity for us, for them to come in here, and hopefully it's a packed house when they come in here.
In that same vein, Ricky, I mean, I know you're in your own world and you got a lot of stuff on, but it's impossible to not notice the amount of change and turnover in college football. I mean, in some of these huge programs and things like that. Have you ever seen anything in an offseason like this?
Not until next year. I think this is kind of the way it's going to be from now on. Again, we can all sit here and we can bemoan the fact that this is the way it is, or we can just accept the fact that this is the way it is and adapt to it and see. For me, it's how can I best position Old Dominion to take advantage of some of this turnover, whether it's in players in the transfer portal, whether it's in recruits. I mean, the market inefficiency right now is probably high school recruits. If you read the book Moneyball, and I know that the movie could not do a worse job of portraying what that book is actually about, but it's about finding market inefficiencies and how can you best exploit those things, and right now high school recruits are probably in there, and I understand why. And if you look at guys losing their positions at a school after 2 years and things like that, you can see why that's the case. And so I'm not telling anybody they're wrong with how they're approaching things, but it's something that I've got to continue to evaluate and see what's going to be best for us moving forward. And so I've got to, I think it's a rare opportunity for all coaches to not just fall back on what you've always done, but to see, hey, what's the best way to do this moving forward.
The other day, Wood cited the 1-11 season, the lack of a season, and then the 1-6 start, and said this is like a Disney story. How appealing might this team's story be on a national level?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a Disney story. I don't remember my kids giving me any really cute bits of wisdom like those stories usually have. I think they may have reminded me more that we had lost than those cute bits of wisdom I got there from that. A national story, I don't know. It's funny. I talked to somebody else today. I think sometimes we always think that our story is more important to everybody than maybe it is. And to us, this is the most important thing in the world because, man, we put a lot of effort into this thing. And it really is the most important thing in my life, other than my family. And this was awesome. North Texas was able to do the same thing. Shoot, the team we're playing won 3 in a row against some really, really good opponents down the stretch. You've got, a team like Cincinnati that's done a nice job over the last couple of years and what they've done. You've got all this coaching turnover that we talked about. That's a national story. There's so many stories in college football, and that's what makes it great is you can get sucked into the story that's important to you. And that's, I think, what makes it really, really special is there's a story for everybody. And ours is a story of perseverance and hard work and what people who, believe in each other and truly, genuinely care for each other can do when they work together. So that's a pretty cool deal. But, I think that nationally, especially when I get on social media and those sort of things, I think everybody's wrapped up in their own stories. I don't know if there's too many national stories anymore. Everyone's just so wrapped up in what they're doing. So, I love this. I love our story. I love this season. It's the most fun season I've ever been a part of. I would say this in probably 2016 at Penn State were the most fun seasons I've ever been a part of. Now, people would be easy to point that out and say, well, yeah, you went on long winning streaks in both of those. So maybe that's why. But this one was fun just because, like I said, the kids never changed, never blinked. They believed in our coaching staff. Our coaching staff believed, and it was really just a special time to go through that and watch the guys get better each and every week, and then just continue to battle at every single practice.
Coach, you guys are going against a team that's played against some of the schools in the power conferences. Tulsa has played Oklahoma State. They played Ohio State. I mean, granted, they lost a lot of those games, but they were tested in a way that you guys haven't quite been tested yet playing in Conference USA. Were you guys together when the bowl games were announced, and how did the team like see that challenge?
They saw it as another challenge, another opportunity. I mean, I think Wake Forest is pretty good. I think Liberty's proven to be pretty good. Western Kentucky is a pretty good football team. We played some good football teams just like they have. They've had some close games just like we have, and it's going to be an awesome game. I think our guys are excited about the challenge. And it wasn't. I don't think they would have cared who the opponent was one way or another, as long as they got another opportunity to play a game against somebody and compete against somebody and be able to, practice together and play together for, 10 to 15 more days.
What do you hope these guys get out of the bowl game experience? Obviously, you're locked into the game plan. You want to win the game and everything, but there is the other element to it when it comes to the bus ride or the hotel rooms or the community outreach kind of things that will probably happen down there. What do you hope the players and your staff get out of this experience?
Just some memories with each other, a little extra time with some of the best people they're ever going to know. They get a little bit more time with the guys I've talked about, the Jordan Youngs, Isaac Weavers, Nick Rices, the Corey Jacksons of the world, JoJo Heedens, and that's something that you're never going to get back. You're never going to be able to do that again. And there might be a memory that happens in this 10 to 15 days that, in 20 years from now, you're sitting around and that's the story you tell. So I hope that that's what happens. And obviously, it's always a lot more fun when you're able to tell that story with a win as the culmination of the story.
You mentioned riding around with the assistant coaches. How much traveling have you done? Where all have you been?
Done quite a bit of traveling. I've been to Texas. I've been to Delaware. I've been to North Carolina. Been all around Virginia. Been to Maryland. Been to Pennsylvania. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. But yeah, been kind of throughout this whole region, driving around. They did allow me. It's funny. You become a head coach, you think you're the boss until you realize you're not. Especially in recruiting, you get kind of dictated by the other guys because they know more and they can plan stuff out and everything. So yesterday I was allowed to drive my own car, which was kind of nice. Quick story. It's one of the worst stories I'm ever going to tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So Coach Vic is our defensive line coach, and he does one of the most fantastic jobs you're ever going to see, developing players and all those sort of things. He's a little bit of a younger guy. So he's driving me around the other day. He calls Tristan to get my favorite energy drinks, so he's got those ready for me. And I get in the car, and there's Christmas music playing, which my wife will hate when I say this, but which I hate. I'm not a Christmas music guy, except on Christmas. And then there's and then the other music playing is Frank Sinatra, and which I actually like Frank Sinatra quite a bit, but it made me feel really old. The thing that he thought to play for me was Frank Sinatra, and I was like, how old does Coach Vic think I am? But then, as my wife pointed out, he was right. I do like it. But after listening to Frank Sinatra for probably a good 2 hours, he finally was like, Coach, what other music do you like? And I'm like, well, I like anything, Vic. We can play whatever you want, man. I'm good. And but it did show. I know we're the youngest coaching staff in America, but I got to remember that I am quite a bit older than some of the other guys. I'm not that much older though. Yeah, it was a humbling experience for me. There's no doubt about it.
Will come fly with me.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm great with Sinatra. I love him, and it's awesome, and I listen to him. But like I've said before, I like punk. I like some 90s, both hip hop and alternative, Nirvana and things like that. I like 60s and 70s music. I like I do not care for some of the music our players listen to now, but I'm okay with it. And I listen to it, and it's fine. It's fine. They always ask me who this is. I'll ask, like the other day I asked one of our players, I was like, hey, who's this? And he's like, Drake, Coach. I'm like, all right, man, all I know about him is he's got that stupid heart haircut, and he's a fan of the Raptors. Like that's all I know about him. You know what I mean? And I've heard his music. It's fine. It's good. But you know, I'm not. It's one of those type of deals, and yeah, it was just I felt incredibly old, and I remember go after that thing being like, holy mackerel, I gotta get my street cred up a little bit apparently.
Coach, getting back to Tulsa, you talked about their win streak. Schematically, what do they do that stands out? Offense, defense, special teams, whatever.
Yeah, they're doing a really nice job on defense. They play a 3 down front most of the time. They'll run some of that 3 safety stuff, and they do a nice job with it. They create some layers on defense, which presents some problems. They're able to make it look like it's a light box, but then have more in the box than you can block and things like that. So they do a very nice job with that, and that's going to be a challenge for us. They've got one of their defensive players, number 90, is going to be one of the better guys we're going to play against all year. He's a heck of a football player. So that's going to be a big challenge for us on offense. They're a spread team, 10 and 11 personnel. They've done a nice job of balance between the run and the pass. Their running back's a good player. They have a wideout who's done a nice job. Their offensive line is very solid. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. I mean, and they do some things similar to us on offense. Defensively, it's a different look, but they're trying to get to some of the same things we do. So it's going to be. I'm excited about the challenge. It's something a little bit different than we've seen. But it's going to be, overall, it's going to be a nice X's and O's battle for sure.
Coach, you guys, I just want to go back to the national story question from earlier. So you guys started 1-5, and then you changed the quarterback, you changed some other things up, and then the win streak started. I feel like that's something ESPN is definitely going to point at on the national broadcast to talk about how your season changed around and what made you be able to clinch a bowl game. But just from a coach's perspective, it couldn't have just been the quarterback change, but what do you feel really went into turning you guys' season around?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. There was no one thing that did it. There's no magic bullet or anything like that. Been happy with how with how Hayden's played since he's been in there and those sort of things. But I would say that overall, I think that the secret sauce or the magic bullet was just the fact that our guys just kept plugging away and kept going and kept doing it. And I pointed this out before, is I thought the main thing, and I told our players this too, the main thing was how we practiced during the bye week. The amount of effort, the amount of passion, the amount of how physical we were during the bye week when we didn't have an opponent. Our opponent was ourselves. Our opponent was getting better. And I think that ended up being a springboard to our success the rest of the season, that we got significantly better during our bye week, and that was able to carry us through.
Ricky, getting to know you a little bit, when you took this job, I doubt confidence was an issue, but how much has this validated your ability to be a head coach?
I'd be lying if we didn't. I mean, if you don't have self-doubt, then you don't have self-awareness. I mean, you should have some self-doubt because you should be able to constantly see, where your weaknesses are and how you can get stronger and better and things like that. So I think I certainly had some self-doubt, and I still do, and I probably will to the day till they lay me in the ground. I think that has it helped validate overall what we're doing? Yeah, but I also had seen it work, or at least pieces of it and fragments of it work at other stops that I'd been. Like I said, I didn't invent any of this. I stole a lot of this stuff and then just kind of molded it together to make it my own and our own. And this staff has been a huge part of that. And there's been times when I've done things that have not been correct, and our staff has pointed that out to me, and we've got it fixed. And then so it certainly has helped me believe in what we're doing. But I mean, there's always going to be some self-doubt in there. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that's what makes people successful, is being able to be self-aware and self-conscious in what you're doing and try to correct your faults as much as humanly possible and accentuate your positives.
but it turns out you can't pull this off.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think pulling it off requires longer term. You know, I mean, I think you know, the reason that Nick Saban is the greatest coach in the history of sports, either him or Belichick, would both be because of their longevity and their consistency. I mean, that's what it is. It's not, you know, one championship season. It's that longevity, that consistency. And, you know, I mean, the other guy who people would point to would be John Wooden. And, again, consistency and longevity, right? And so I think, and the other one would be Coach K, right? I mean, those are the people that people point to. And when you talk about that, and that's, you know, it's over time. It's not 1 year. You know, it's not a one-hit wonder. It's over and over and over again, and there's going to constantly be changes. And can you adapt with the times and do those sort of things? I think that's going to be the key.
Getting back to kind of the schematics thing, considering the game Ali had to wrap up the year, you expected Tulsa to maybe pay extra attention to a guy like that, looking at that box score, looking at that film, and how much might that open up other stuff for other guys?
Well, I think he was able to do that because Charlotte was trying to take some other things away from us. You know, they were trying to take away our running game. They were focusing a lot on our tight ends and those sort of things. You know, so if they decide that they want to take away Ali, then we better make sure that we have our other answers, and I feel very confident that we will. I mean, that's kind of what that's why we coach. That's why we do those sort of things, to be able to get that back and forth. That's what makes this game so great. That's what makes being a coach so awesome. Is not only, you know, help young men achieve their dreams, but the chess match within, you know, a game, within a drive, that sort of thing. So it's gonna obviously, I think they'll have a plan to do that, but we've got to find a ways to still make sure that he makes an impact on the game. But our other guys have got to be prepared to step up and take advantage of their opportunities if they do that.
Coach, so you talk about how some teams are trying to take certain things away from you guys. This team is really talented. It might be more talented than people are expecting who don't really follow Old Dominion football when they watch it on ESPN that day. As a coach, when you watch the film and you see how teams try to take away maybe your tight ends like Zach Kuntz or Ollie Jennings, does that like kind of make you just smirk a little bit because you know that you can attack them in several different ways?
Yeah, I mean, we have some guys that maybe haven't reached their full potential this year on both sides of the ball, and I think you know, this bowl practice can help them do that. And you know, if teams are going to do things to take away some of our more productive players, then this can be an opportunity for those guys to step up and really establish themselves and that sort of thing. So I think that's always the key. That's why you got to recruit a whole team and not one guy, because you got to be able to, you know, football's a team sport, and you need all 11 working together. You need everyone going in the same direction, because you're going to need at some point everybody to make a play to help you win that game. So yeah, excited to see how they're going to try to take away our guys. I think they're going to watch the tape and see we're very talented. Like, I know we've watched the tape and noticed they're very talented, you know. So it's going to be a great game.
Coach, just kind of a question for you. You've been through quite a bit as a coach. You've moved different places, you've been different places, and I heard you talk about the recruiting thing, being on the road, and you got a family at home, your wife's there. I'm curious, the interactions you have with your wife, what it's been like with her as she's supported you throughout this whole journey, and just how supported she's been for you. And then you're in this new position where you're taking a team to a bowl game, and you got all this going on, and now you're the head man. What has it been like being there through this with her the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, she's the best. You know, I mean, she's the toughest and smartest person I know. You know, I mean, somebody who, you know, has a, you know, civil engineering degree from Cornell could be doing a lot with their lives, and the fact that she's, you know, kind of sacrificed some of her dreams in order to allow me to chase mine is pretty it's pretty special. You know, I'd like to think I would do the same for her, but I don't know. Who knows? You know, I mean, I just you know, she's the most important person in my life, and always will be. I love my mother. I love my you know, my father, my mother-in-law very much, and my two boys. But my wife will always be the most important person in my life. first thing I do when I get home is make sure that try not to get slobbered on by St. Bernard, and then second thing is to kiss her, and then I'll go find those boys. But I want to always make sure that she knows she's first, and she's sacrificed a lot, and I couldn't do anything without her. But got a lot of support. I mean, I've already got 20 people. We've already, we're doing our part in the ticket sales department. We've already got 20. We bought 20 tickets the other day, and probably gonna buy some more because I got a lot of people who want to just come show their support, and that's a pretty awesome deal that. You think about that people are going to take that much time out of their lives to come support you is pretty special.
Coach, you
We
always
got time for one more, guys. Last question.
okay. Coach, you always kind of have let it known that you're a family man first. How do you think that goes into your locker room? How do you think that blends the team together as well? Because every team has the family dynamic that they show, but we've seen it be pretty hard to keep a locker room together when things go wrong. Do you think in any way that them viewing you as that family man, you think that kind of helps their dynamic as a team family as well?
I think they know how much I love my wife and my boys, and then they see how much I sacrifice the time with my family in order to spend with them, or in order to prepare them to help them reach their goals and help us win games. And I think that they realize if I'm going to sacrifice that much, that they can sacrifice some things as well. So I think that's a big part of it. I don't make that like a blatant thing where I'm like, hey, look at what I'm giving up for you guys. And I don't ever want it to be that way. I don't ever want to use. I mean, you guys are asking the question, and sometimes I find it. I hesitate to answer them because I don't ever want to use my family as a recruiting ploy or an advancement in my career, because that's the opposite of what they are to me. So, yeah. But I think the guys know how much I care about my family, and they know that I can care about my family that much, but still care about them and their success as well.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you.